So lately, I've been finding it difficult to get articles done for a plethora of reasons. Some of them are because my computer has been, with traveling, I said about being flexible, but here's one of the issues. Getting internet can be a challenge. Getting to places where I can just sit and type is a challenge. Making sure that my computer is charged, another challenge. So this whole series of things has made me realize that getting articles out every week is maybe something that I shouldn't have even thought that I could do while traveling the way I have been. If I was staying more in one place or sort of settling in a certain area or something, it might be better, but at the minute it's tough. So what I'm switching to is putting up videos instead of articles, at least for the time being. I'll try to do some, I've been putting up pictures, so for those of you who can see, you can see some of the places where I'm at. Today I'm not even going out because it's incredibly windy. It's raining off and on. It's Sunday, so you can't even get anywhere by bus because where I am is sort of out in the country, so there's no bus service on a Sunday. Very old-fashioned. It's kind of nice. The house is relatively quiet. There's only one other person here, so I'm able to talk to a camera at my pleasure. So today's video is kind of a weird one, I suppose, because I'm going into something that's a little bit more personal and a little bit more, not that RP is anything other than personal, but I wanted to talk about dating when you know you have degenerative eye disease, any kind of handicap that, you know, people might not be able to see right away. And then you're going into the dating world, and, you know, do you explain to somebody, when do you explain to somebody that you're dating, that you might want a future with? When do you tell them? And whenever I was diagnosed with RP, I was, I think I was 30 or 31. I was still single, and I had been dating off and on for some time. Didn't have a lot of luck in the dating world, mostly because I was very picky, and I was living in an area where it wasn't wise to be picky, let's just say that, because there was not a lot of choice. So that being said, by the time I was 30, I was living in a city. I could move back into a city and was starting to look at dating again. And this time a little more seriously. I wasn't so much looking to just meet people. I was looking for, you know, the whole package: love, romance, the, you know, potential marriage, all of that sort of stuff. And around about that time, I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa. And my immediate reaction was to get off the dating market. For me, it was because I thought RP was something I didn't want to deal with, and everything that would have to happen because of RP, like making sure all the sharps are pointed in the right direction, making sure that things aren't left all over the floor, that, you know, there's those little things that just make it safer and easier for someone who has a visual disability to deal with. Putting things back in the same place every time. I mean, I struggle with these sort of things with family and friends that come into my house, let alone, you know, expecting someone that I'm in a relationship to even consider these things. So I basically checked out of dating. And I mean, even when I did date people after having that diagnosis, one of the things that bothered me was that the guys that I was meeting wanted to take care of me and treat me like I was some fragile thing, and um, didn't want me working, didn't want me really leaving the house. Like, seriously. They wanted to sort of, I've described this as treating me kind of like an insect on display, you know, wings pinned to a cardboard box or a cardboard board, and put under glass and up on a shelf. It was that kind of thing. And I mean, that kind of thing had been offered to me before I was diagnosed, but after it just became even more frustrating. And so maybe I have more issues than Time Magazine, but um, what I was looking for was a partnership and someone to go and do fun things with, and you know, who wouldn't hold me back and who would encourage me to try things and do things and enjoy my life. I didn't want to be, um, you know, on display or put on a shelf or, you know, wrapped in cotton. I wanted to go out and experience life. I mean, right now I'm blind and traveling around the world. Well, not all the world, but I'm traveling because I want to see the things that I won't be able to see in the future, potentially. I mean, with RP, we're always being told, well, you know, maybe. Well, you might go blind. Well, you might keep some of your sight. Well, you know, yeah, it's different for everybody. And incredibly frustrating because there's no clear cut, this is how it's going to happen, this is when it's going to happen, this is why it's going to happen. It's the most frustrating part of RP is not knowing, and nobody knowing. There's no one that has gone down the road before, in exactly the same way that each one of us will go down that road. So that's incredibly frustrating. And I mean, right now, my eyesight isn't great, and it keeps shifting and changing. And like, I know yesterday I couldn't read anything because I had allowed myself to get tired, and I hadn't been feeding myself properly. Because for me, I know I need to eat meat. I need that protein, and if I don't get it, I start getting tired and lethargic, and my eyes stop functioning. And I'm staying in a house that's vegan, so I've been trying to be respectful and, you know, not eat meat, but just got to the point where I had to, and my host already said, you know, if I needed to, that I could. So so I switched stuff up, and like in one day I could feel it. Even like the same day, there was sort of, it was almost like a switch went off and or turned on, really. And my mind started being able to focus again, and I was, you know, feeling better immediately, just because of getting some meat in my system. Um, so, I mean, that's interesting. We know we have to take care of ourselves. We know everything is different for each individual one of us, and, you know, we don't know what the future holds for us, except that, you know, in all likelihood, we're going to go blind. Maybe completely, maybe it's not going to be good. This is like totally off track. I am better in writing because I tend to tangent whenever I'm just talking stuff out. But the point is, get back on track. I took myself off the market, and I was sort of happy and content with that until just recently, like probably in the last 6 months. There was someone who sort of passively made me start thinking about my own dating situation and life choices because of his. And I point to the wall. He was going through his own stuff, and I sort of latched onto that and it started me thinking about my own issues and handicaps when it comes to dating and thinking about dating. And then recently I've had two different women tell me that to take myself off the market means that I'm robbing somebody of, how extraordinary I am. And I mean, I don't think of myself as extraordinary, but um, to have two different people say pretty much the same thing, that my unwillingness to date or consider dating is robbing somebody else of what I may have to give them, made me stop and think. I mean, it's like pushing the buttons, because I'm always thinking of what I can give to other people. So for someone to say that I'm robbing from somebody else by not dating, that was kind of weird, and made me really think. So this is not it's not me putting myself back on the market. This is me saying, okay, so maybe there's something to think about. And I'm wondering if anybody else has experienced that. I know most of the RPers that I know or that I've talked to in one capacity or another are all married already. But I wonder about people who are going through this, and maybe they knew before anybody else could tell, like before you needed the cane, before did any of you feel the same way, that you didn't want to burden someone that you love with your problems, your the things that you need to do to take care of yourself because of RP? You don't want to put that on somebody else. I mean, that was how I was thinking about it, and now I'm being kind of forced to turn that around and go, well, maybe I do have something to offer. Maybe I shouldn't be taking that opportunity away from someone else just because of my feelings of inadequacy. So I'm wondering what you all think, and what your ideas are about dating with a degenerative eye disease. Even those of you who are married, do you worry about being a burden to your family, or just not even maybe a burden but a nuisance, that your foibles, the things that you need, maybe are unfair to the people that you love? I mean, with our kids it's different, because in my case in particular, I had no idea whenever I had my son, and I wouldn't unhave my son because of it. First of all, he won't have it because of the gene that's affected in me is so incredibly rare. It's nothing short of a miracle that I have it. It's sort of a miracle in reverse. Yay! So he'll be a carrier, but that's it, and it'll probably be another 400 to 600 years before someone in my genealogy would have an outbreak of RP, and it could easily be avoided. In 400 to 600 years, hopefully RP doesn't even exist anymore. We've solved the issue. But yeah, I'm curious what you think of dating as an RPer, or even as a family member, or a husband or wife or something, or boyfriend, mate, whatever. What do you think of dating whenever you know that there is that possibility of going blind, and in the meantime and in between time there are things that you have to do to make sure that you're taking care of yourself? So let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll probably revisit this one again sometime, and there'll be more videos because, like I say, the writing isn't coming along as easily, so I'm finding alternatives. Until next time, RPers, take care.